2007 was a great year. The first iPhone came out, 300 was released, and I was 4 years old. But you know what else happened in 2007? The Beowulf movie came out. Animated in that same style as like Polar Express and Monster House, Beowulf did surprisingly well at the box office. I just rewatched it for this video and it's alright. But we're not here to talk about Beowulf the movie, because you know what else came out in 2007? Beowulf the Game, a tie-in game with the movie. Being a movie tie-in, it not only includes the trailer for the movie as an extra feature in the game, but also doesn't really make sense if you haven't seen the movie. Now with that being said, the movie is a very loose adaptation of the ancient epic poem, and the game is a very loose adaptation of the movie. A lot of the voice lines are reused from the movie, however somehow they did manage to get Anthony Hopkins, Ray Winstone, and Brendan Gleeson to record some new ones just for the game. Now before we get into the actual game, I need to answer the burning question. Why am I making a video on Beowulf the Game? Genuinely, who cares about this obscure movie tie-in from 2007? Well, I do. Because I actually had it for the PS3. I never finished it, but I played enough of it for this game to stick with me throughout all these years. So without any further ado, let's talk about Beowulf the video game.
I am Ripper and Tearer and Slasher and Gouger. I am the teeth in the darkness and the talons in the night. Mine is the strength and lust and power. I am Beowulf.
The gameplay of Beowulf is actually its most unique feature. It's a hack and slash, so you can imagine that you press square to do a light attack and Y to do a heavy one, of course. You can also grab enemies by mashing circle, and from there you have 4 options. Square is to throw, which is kind of useless. X lets you steal their weapon, assuming you can out-button mash them. Circle just has you punch them a couple times till they die. And triangle has you attempt to crush the enemy by, guess what, button mashing.
No escaping.
Crushing is usually an insta-kill on all but the biggest enemies, even on the harder difficulty. However, trying to crush strong enemies is a carpal tunnel simulator. Weapons in this game have an insanely low durability, like your sword will just break mid-fight and you have to go find another one or die. You have a one-handed sword and axe which share the same moveset and can be paired with a shield. There's a spear which is slower but has massive sweeping attacks, and a hammer which is super slow but does very high damage. These 4 weapons take various shapes and sizes, but fundamentally there's only 4 weapons in Beowulf. That and your fists, which are the weakest of all. You can unlock shadow forms of the weapons, which I think do more damage in Carnal Fury mode, which we'll talk about in a minute, and heroic weapons which have more durability and do more damage than basic weapons. Combat is not just button mashing though, because you can press L2 to lock onto an enemy and change your roll into a dodge. Beowulf's dodge is like slow motion, like he literally just kind of walks in a circle around the enemy. However, the iframes on it are crazy. Basically, as long as you press the button at any point before an enemy hits you, you'll dodge their attack. But Beowulf is not alone in this game. You're constantly accompanied by a various number of Thanes, who are like one step above useless in combat until you inspire them. The more Thanes you have, the higher Beowulf's max health is, and the way you gain health is by inspiring Thanes. So unlike most games in this genre, there's no healing orbs or any way to heal at all. When you get hit, you not only lose health, but your Thanes also lose faith in you. So how do you inspire Thanes and gain health? Well, the easiest way is to dodge attacks. Dodging an attack instantly inspires a Thane, which puts you at a pretty safe health. You can inspire them by landing combos or saving them from enemies' grasps, which happens very frequently. When you inspire all of your Thanes and reach max health, you can use Heroic Storm, which makes you basically immune to attacks and makes your Thanes actually do damage and kill enemies. Using Heroic Storm is basically like pressing an I win button, but like I said, in order to use it, you have to be doing good, and you can't even get hit a single time or all your worthless Thanes will immediately lose their inspiration. So what if you're just getting your ass kicked? What do you do when you're constantly getting hit, your Thanes are scared, and your wife doesn't love you? Well, that's where Carnal Fury comes in. You can manually charge Carnal Fury by holding down R2, which builds up the meter as it subtracts health from your bar. You also gain Carnal Charge when you're getting hit by enemies or grappling with enemies. However, it'll always put you at or below this health threshold. Don't worry though, because while you're in Carnal Fury, your health is no concern of yours as you're entirely immune to damage. The biggest use of Carnal Fury though is that it greatly empowers your grab attacks, changing them from 30-second long carpal tunnel episodes to just a few seconds of calm button pressing. The easiest way to kill basically every enemy in this game is to pop Carnal Fury, grab them, and crush them. The problem with Carnal Fury is that it enables friendly fire, so your screen goes red, Beowulf is screaming his lungs out, and you're getting all into the ripping and tearing only to find out that the enemies have been dead for a while and you just killed all of your Thanes, which is a game over. Besides that, it's pretty easy to get yourself killed when you run out of Carnal Fury, as there is a couple second window where Beowulf is stunned after exiting it. There are 2 endings in this game, and weirdly neither of them really match up with the movie ending, but the one you get depends on whether you use Carnal Fury more or Heroic Storm. It's called the Legacy system. Basically, what legacy will King Beowulf leave behind? That of the Monster Slayer or the hero? It's actually kind of deceiving, because the legacy bar will move left or right at the end of each episode depending on whether you use Carnal or Heroic more, but that's not actually what matters. What matters is how you finish the bosses. See, Carnal Fury is way easier to use than Heroic Storm, but it's not necessarily better in the moment-to-moment gameplay. If you can actually get Heroic Storm, your Thanes will sweep away enemy hordes in seconds, while in Carnal Fury it's basically entirely on you to kill the enemies, as your Thanes are shitting themselves out of fear. At 3 points throughout the game you get the opportunity to upgrade your Carnal Fury or Heroic Storm using these upgrade tokens. You get these at the end of combat encounters and episodes depending on which route you took, but you can also find a lot of them lying around on the ground. The Carnal upgrades are as follows: lessen the charge time, upgrade your damage, increase the duration, and decrease the stun that happens after you exit Fury. You get these upgrades from this guy called Unferth, who is just like the worst person, but we'll talk more about him later. You get heroic upgrades from Beowulf's best friend Wiglaf, and they are as follows: upgrade the range of the Heroic Aura, increase the duration of Heroic Storm, decrease the likelihood of a Thane getting put in danger, and increase the amount of time Thanes stay boosted from Heroic Aura. Wiglaf and Unferth's dialogue will change depending on your legacy status each time you try to upgrade with them. Generally, if you lean Carnal, Unferth will suck you off constantly while Wiglaf just sounds disappointed in you, while if you lean Heroic, Unferth will mock you while Wiglaf eats that shit up. I mean, I love Wiglaf, he's great. There are more consequences to the legacy system, we'll discuss those later. Anyway, there's one place where Carnal is objectively better, and that just happens to be the boss fights. Every single one of them ends with button mashing and quick time events, both of which are way easier in Carnal. So you can do everything right the rest of the game, try to be the biggest hero in the world, but if you can't mash those damn buttons in the boss fights, you can't get the heroic ending. Just watch me try to finish the boss fight with Brekka without using Carnal, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Now I know I just said that Carnal isn't necessarily better than Heroic Storm, however I'm going to immediately contradict that as we talk about the enemies of Beowulf.
O great King Hrothgar, Lord of the Danes, I have come to kill your monster. And taste that famous mead of yours.
So the first enemy you encounter are these little crabs. Just thought I'd mention them. An enemy you'll see a lot of are normal human enemies. At the start of the game they're armed with shitty swords and sticks, but as time goes on they have access to all the same weapons you do. By far the most annoying of the bunch are the men with shields. If you just hack at a shield enough it'll break, otherwise you have to grab them or dodge an attack to open them up for attack. When it comes to human enemies, you can basically use whatever strategy. Worshippers are pretty similar to humans, just a little faster and with worse weapons. Again, whatever works against these guys, but Heroic Storm with a good number of Thanes will just dissolve a horde of worshippers. Formar are these little ape-like creatures that are super fast and do a pretty decent amount of damage. Their biggest thing is that they love to pin down Thanes and maul them until Beowulf either saves them or lets them die. Formar are basically no threat at all, however their leaders are super annoying. There are multiple sections where you have to hunt down and kill a Formar leader, but they're just so slippery, constantly dodging attacks while having a lot of health. But still, Formar aren't a real threat until you have to do these stupid side objectives like protecting a holy relic, but that's a later topic. Priestesses are super annoying enemies. They pose basically zero threat to Beowulf himself, but they pose a huge threat overall because of the effect they have on Thanes. Priestesses can sing this song that will hypnotize every single Thane close to them and cause them to slowly stroll towards her. She'll then kill the one closest to her, run away, and repeat. Listen man, I get it, she's pretty hot, but get your fucking head in the game, Thanes. So if a Thane is getting mauled by Formar or lured in by a priestess, the rest will just watch until you save them. When you finally do reach them as Beowulf, you might be able to get one good attack on them before they either run away or start dodging every single one of your attacks. Basically the only way to reliably deal with priestesses is by using a Carnal Fury Crush, which insta-kills them. If you want to kill them heroically, be prepared to chase the priestess around for 5 minutes as your Thanes repeatedly fall for her again and again. Speaking of enemies that take too long to kill, trolls are the biggest and toughest enemies besides bosses. I actually really like the design of the trolls in this game. They're by far the biggest thing that stuck with me from back when I played this game when I was like 10. Anyway, on the higher difficulty, be prepared to spend 5+ minutes trying to kill trolls heroically. Your sword will break about 1/5 of the way into their health pool, so you can either go through 5 swords or just thug it out with your fists. Fighting a troll is just a dodge attack, hit, dodge attack again, hit again, and get a few more hits in before it restarts and go again. Trolls can also grab your Thanes and kill them if you don't interfere, so you really can't ignore them either. If you do manage to get Heroic Storm and your bitch-ass Thanes don't have ADHD and actually target the troll, they go down pretty quickly, but otherwise Carnal Fury is the way to go. Just like the Priestess, far and away the quickest way to kill trolls is with a Carnal Crush. On the higher difficulty, it'll sometimes take 2 crushes, but even then, man, it takes like 1/10 of the time killing them heroically does. There's also these little tentacle monsters you find in the water levels of the game, but you see them like twice, so they're on the same level as the crabs in my eyes. The last level of the game introduces us to frozen, human, Formar, priestess, and troll enemies, which have more health and, more importantly, can't be damaged unless you have at least one Thane inspired or use Carnal Fury. So in practice, what this means is that if one of your Thanes gets pinned down and you don't have any inspired, they're cooked. Of course you can still use Carnal, but then you're probably going to kill your own Thane anyway. Frozen trolls genuinely take like 7 minutes to kill, it's horrible. But if you thought 7 minutes is bad, just wait till we talk about the final boss. The tutorial boss of Beowulf is a pack of giant sea serpents that attack him while he's racing his good buddy Brekka. You can't hurt them until one of them kills Beowulf, which is where Grendel's mom bestows upon him the power of carnal fury. I'll explain the story a little later, but for now you're just gonna have to wonder what the hell I'm talking about. Once you unlock carnal, you get to fight the serpents and we see how boss fights work in this game, some of them at least. Basically, you do enough damage until you reach one of these checkpoints where you have to grapple the boss and do some QTEs. Since you're forced to be in carnal here and the serpents are the tutorial bosses, this fight is super easy. Next up is Grendel, and this fight is also super easy. Again, you have to use carnal, but none of this counts towards your legacy yet, so it's fine. Also, you have no Thanes to fight Grendel because he murks all of them in seconds, so you don't really have to worry about that. Grendel doesn't have many attacks, and the ones he does have are super easy to dodge, but whenever you hit one of those checkpoints, he'll jump to the fire in the middle of the room, forcing you to rip a pillar out of a wall, hit him with it, and then do a QTE. It actually goes really hard, and at the end of the fight, Beowulf rips off Grendel's arm, killing him. Next, I don't really know if these qualify as a boss fight, but you have 3 separate encounters with Grendel's mom. You can't actually damage Grendel's mom, but she makes these golden clones that you can destroy. There's no winning here, only surviving for as long as you can. The clones will grab onto you and try to seduce Beowulf, and you have to button mash to get away from them. This makes it really tempting to use carnal, however that is absolutely the wrong move. If you survive for at least 1 minute, which is basically impossible not to, it gives you carnal upgrade points and moves your legacy meter to the left. On the other hand, if you survive 2 minutes, which is pretty easy, if you don't use Carnal Fury, you get heroic upgrade points and it moves your meter the other way. The next boss also isn't really a boss fight, but I don't know where else to put it. You have to fight a shitload of these Shadow Thanes, which can only be damaged in Carnal Fury mode. The problem is that these guys will murk you the second you exit Carnal Fury, so you have to use these responding Carnal Spores around the arena to keep your meter up and kill like 5 to 6 waves of these guys. This is basically a demo for the final boss fight if you lean towards Monster Slayer. The next real boss is the Wolf, basically a giant skinless wolf god who all the worshippers and priestesses were summoning. The wolf's attacks are very easy to evade just by dodging, with the only exception to that being its grab attack, which basically forces you to use carnal to get out. Just like Grendel, the wolf has 3 checkpoints throughout the fight where you need to do a QTE. If you fuck it up, he gets most of his health back from that checkpoint. The wolf also loves to teleport around the arena and leaves little lava holes, which are the only place you can damage him. The wolf isn't hard at all, just very time consuming. Next is Brekka, the guy Beowulf raced at the beginning. This boss fight is only beaten by the final boss in how much harder it is when you're trying to be heroic. So when you arrive on Brekka's island, he's waiting for Beowulf atop a cliff with the fucking army of his own soldiers and 4 more downstairs waiting for you. Brekka himself can be killed in like 10 seconds with Carnal Fury. However, if you leave your Thanes to go fight him, they immediately get overwhelmed and start dying. So on a heroic playthrough, you first have to fight off waves upon waves of enemies on the beach to make sure your Thanes will be safe before going up to fight Brekka. They won't follow, by the way. See, Brekka and Beowulf are old friends, which means they have a very similar fighting style. Specifically, Brekka loves his grab attacks. So if you're playing Carnal, Brekka will try to grapple with Beowulf, only to get completely overwhelmed and have his bones snapped. All you need is 3 grab attacks before Beowulf fucking liquidates his former friend. On Heroic, however, be prepared for like 10 minutes of slowly scraping away at Brekka's health, while he grabs you over and over. You can use Carnal to resist his grab, but you can't use it to crush him, so you have to chip away at his health normally.
All that for a drop of blood.
When you finally reach the end of his health bar, you need his grab attack to beat Brekka. However, again, you cannot use Carnal Fury. The amount of button mashing you need to do to out-grapple Brekka and finish this fight is insane. I was playing a controller, so I tried changing the button prompt to something I could easily mash on a keyboard, but it still didn't work. I genuinely haven't had to lock in so hard since I was a kid doing the test your might on Mortal Kombat. Like, I couldn't even look at the screen, I just had to focus on pressing that damn button. Now, it might sound like this is the worst boss fight on Heroic mode, but just wait, I promise. Next is Hela, and unfortunately she's not the baddie from Marvel. She's an old lady sitting on a throne. You don't actually need to fight the goddess of the underworld, rather you first have to destroy 2 crystals, then have your Thanes turn a wheel. You have to do that a lot in this game. I'll talk more about it later when we discuss the levels, but this boss fight somewhat rewards a heroic playthrough because you're more likely to keep your Thanes alive that way. I say somewhat because this is where you face those frozen enemies I mentioned before, and the frozen trolls and priestesses are like 10 times easier to kill using Carnal. Either way, this boss fight takes a super long time simply because the frozen enemies take so long to kill. At the end of it, Beowulf has to climb a small tower and button mash to kill Hela. If you use Carnal Fury, Beowulf destroys her entire head. Whereas he just kind of grabs her by the jaw in heroic mode. The final boss is a giant golden dragon, and this boss fight is radically different whether your legacy is carnal or heroic. Now I'll tell you up front, both suck complete ass for very different reasons. Let's start with Karnal. So this boss fight took me about 6 minutes to do, and it's kind of a rehash of the Shadow Thane boss fight. Those guys even show up throughout the fight. What this means is that you have to use Karnal to fight both them and the dragon, running around the arena to collect Karnal spores to make sure you don't come out of it, because if you do, you're dead. The only way to attack the dragon is to hit its feet. It'll try stomping Beowulf, but it rarely actually hits you. Besides that, the dragon can fly up in the air and come back down on you or do this running, breathing attack. In Karnal Fury, Beowulf does pretty decent damage, so this boss fight is more running around desperately trying to get Karnal spores than actually fighting a dragon. Now, if you struggle through all those earlier boss fights without using Karnal Fury because you wanted Beowulf to be a great hero, your reward at the end of it all is a boss fight that took me 20 fucking minutes. 20 whole ass minutes fighting a dragon that genuinely has 3 attacks. So why did it take so long? Well, because in this version of events, Beowulf can't use Karnal Fury because he's a hero. Well, that's great and all, and there's no Shadow Thanes this time, except there's also no Thanes at all. So hero Beowulf's greatest asset, his men which he can inspire to do great damage together, aren't present, leaving you to slowly chip away at the dragon's legs for 20 minutes. At least there's a very easy pattern to follow. It'll stomp a couple times, then fly up and slam back down, then do its running attack. That's it. For 20 minutes, that's what you'll be doing if you want to be a hero. Thank God there's not a normal QTE at the end, but on my hero when I actually failed the QTE, and I nearly shit my pants thinking it would send me back to the beginning of the fight, but luckily it just restarts the QTE.
There is something you must know.
Nay, there is nothing I must know. You are Beowulf. Beowulf the Mighty, the hero, the slayer and destroyer of demons. Now let's kill this flying devil where it sleeps, and get on with our bloody lives!
Alright, now I want to talk about the levels, but in order to do that I'll have to go pretty sequentially anyway, so I'll just tell you the story as we go. The first level is the tutorial, and has Beowulf racing his good buddy Brekka. At least they're supposed to be friends, but their relationship is more like Beowulf looks at Brekka like a younger brother, while Brekka hates Beowulf's guts and wants nothing more than to see him fail in life. Anyway, Beowulf gets attacked by sea serpents but still manages to win the race somehow, which is different from the movie. In the movie, Unferth is like, the Beowulf I heard of lost a race to Brekka the Mighty, and Beowulf's like, yeah, I lost, because I got distracted by killing 9 sea serpents, and the crowd goes wild and all that. Anyway, Beowulf is from Geatland, which is a region of modern-day Sweden, and he's on his way to Denmark with a crew of Thanes and his best friend Wiglaf. The seas are choppy though, so Beowulf has to inspire his Thanes by doing this rhythm game. You have to do this twice in the story, but you can also use it to have Thanes finish tasks quicker. Tasks like rolling giant stones out of the way, or in the way because later you have to use them to block off entrances. Anyway, Beowulf and his Thanes fight bandits on the beach until they meet Wulfgar, the herald of King Hrothgar, the king of Denmark. Wulfgar is a game invention, as he wasn't in the movie at all, but they fight past some more bandits until reaching Heorot, the once great mead hall of King Hrothgar. Hrothgar was once a legendary hero in his own right, but now he's old and fat, and when he tried to build a nice mead hall to party the rest of his days in, a troll named Grendel came and killed all of the revelers inside because of the noise. In the movie, Grendel has like an exposed eardrum, which is why he hates the noise. With King Hrothgar is Unferth, who I already mentioned, and his queen Weathilo. If Beowulf manages to kill Grendel, Hrothgar will give him this fancy horn which he once stole from a dragon. To draw Grendel in, Beowulf and his Thanes sing a nice song.
Their mother was from Iceland and she was mighty hot. She needed a whole damn iceberg to call a burning twat.
Which turns out to be their last, as the second Grendel comes in and he kills every single one of Beowulf's Thanes. In the movie, Beowulf strips naked to wrestle Grendel, but in the game he just does it the old-fashioned way, in both cases ripping Grendel's arm off. Now the next part just doesn't happen in the game, but in the movie after Beowulf kills Grendel they throw a massive party, only for Grendel's mother to come in the night and kill everyone in the hall except Beowulf. So Hrothgar tells Beowulf he has to kill Grendel's mother as well, which he calls a sea hag. Beowulf has kind of a funny response to it.
How many monsters am I to slay? Grendel's mother? Father? Will I have to hack down an entire family tree of these demons?
She is the last, I swear it. With her gone, demonkind will slip into legend.
And what of her mate? Grendel's father?
Gone.
Was he as dangerous?
Grendel's father is no threat to anyone anymore.
Unferth gives Beowulf his ancestral sword, which will end up breaking long before we reach the mom, but thanks anyway, bro. Anyway, we're after Grendel's mother, and this is the first real level of the game, although being the first one, it's very easy. The only enemies are bandits, and the only side objectives are either holding out against enemy hordes or turning wheels, which is the same as pushing boulders. There's also these statues which have the same effect as the priestesses. They're like a trial run for those. Anyway, at the end of the level is Grendel's mom's cave, which Beowulf enters with that golden dragon that Hrothgar gave him. The cave is mostly just climbing, but there are some of those tentacle enemies here as well. Anyway, at the end of it is Grendel's mother, who is not a disgusting sea hag, at least not outwardly, and says she's a beautiful naked gold woman who tries and succeeds to seduce Beowulf. She says that he needs to give her a son to replace Grendel, and that as long as that golden dragon horn is within her possession, he'll be king of Denmark.
I swear,
As long as this golden horn remains in my keeping, you will forever be king. Forever strong, mighty, and all-powerful. This I promise. This I swear.
And so, now you are the king of the Danes, Monster Slayer. Everything that was once mine is yours. Let's see how the crown fits, King Beowulf.
The king must shake off the shackles of sleep!
The kingdom of the Danes lies under heavy shadows. Your kingdom, Lord.
King of the Danes? Me?
In the game, Beowulf just wakes up from the assault as the king with no idea of how he got there. He's now inexplicably married to Weathlo, and Hrothgar is just gone. It's kind of weird because in the movie, which I remind you this game is a tie-in for, Beowulf returns from Grendel's mom's cave bragging about how he killed a witch, only for Hrothgar to be like,
I know what kind of man you are.
Hrothgar knows what Beowulf did because he did the same thing, which is how Grendel came about. Because of that, Hrothgar was never able to have kids, so he named Beowulf his heir and kills himself, thus making Beowulf the king of Denmark. The movie then jumps ahead 50 years, but within that gap is where the majority of the game takes place. Anyway, now is when the legacy system actually takes place. You'll return to this hall 2 more times throughout the story, and depending on your actions it'll either be a sad rundown shack, or a bustling, cheerful hall of heroes. Anyway, our first mission is to save the town of Inglethorpe, which is under attack by cultists worshipping the wolf. What is the wolf? Who the fuck knows? Anyway, step 1 on this level is to get to this little village, and save the virgins from trolls that are trying to kidnap them. I should mention that this game has very few character models, so basically every single Thane looks the same, every bandit looks the same, and every virgin looks the same. Anyway, once the trolls have been fended off, a couple priestesses attack the village, and you have to save your bitch-ass Thanes because they have no willpower. Once the village has been saved, an old lady gives Beowulf a relic to let you bypass these runic locks which leads to this temple-type area, where we see a troll absconding with another of the virgins. Before we can chase him though, you have to close these 2 doorways by having your Thanes move boulders in front of them. As long as you keep enemies from interrupting your Thanes, it's not too hard, but if they do interrupt, the boulder rolls right back to the beginning. Anyway, following the trolls brings us to this massive pit where the trolls are planning on tossing the virgins in to feed the wolf. This is the first side objective that's kind of annoying. So the trolls will grab a girl, then slowly walk over to the edge of the hole and throw her in, causing a mission failure. It's actually super easy to interrupt them though. The problem occurs when a priestess spawns and starts distracting all of your Thanes with her song. So you can try to go get her and save your Thanes, but then the troll will kill the virgin. Anyway, it's not too hard compared to a later objective. Once the virgins are safe and I can finally stop saying virgin, Beowulf gets knocked down into the pit by the wolf. After another section of Grendel's mom sexually harassing Beowulf, the pit leads into a cavern filled with rivers of blood. But at the end are the Shadow Thanes, which I already talked about. They're like avatars of all the Thanes Beowulf has gotten killed or something, I don't know.
You know the dirty secret. We traded our lives for that all crown. Something to the Danes. The fuck our worthless life.
Anyway, when Beowulf comes out of the blood cave, he finds his Thanes getting jumped by a pack of worshippers. After saving them, it's time to fight the wolf. Again, nobody knows who the wolf is, it's just some evil entity. If you beat the wolf with Carnal Fury, you come back to Herod to find Unferth sucking you off with a disappointed Weloff behind him.
Of your power, Lord.
Hail, King Beowulf, the Monster Slayer!
Mighty Lord, I incline before your ruthlessness. So you lost a few men. Their widows will weep less when their skin bags are filled with your gold. Drink up and revel in your spoils, Lord.
Go back to your piss hole, Unferth, and stop kissing my ass.
To see you like this. Well, it's as if the wolf lives on inside you. Instead of being dead and cold like those poor Thanes you left to rot. I'm not interested in hearing your tales of slaughter, Beowulf. Have some respect for the dead girls and leave me in peace.
Many of your people died a most foul death today. I am in no mood for merrymaking.
Ah, weeping women! All of you!
The king.
In this scenario, your wife also hates your guts. In the heroic ending, Weloff sings your praises and your wife actually loves you, while Unferth sulks in the background.
Hail to the Hero King!
I want my husband's horn filled to the brim all night. Tonight I may even put up with a little bragging, my hero.
You saved many innocents today, my king. Your kingdom is safe for a time.
Your legacy meter also affects Weloff and Unferth's dialogue when you try to buy upgrades from them.
Do something, mighty bone crusher, before the invaders loot Herod's gold! Why don't you show them what fear truly means, Lord? Welcome, oh immodest hero of Herod. You're not going all soft on me, are you?
Your trials have tested you mightily, my lord. But now has come the time to choose what you would die for. Do you yet hesitate, my king? Would you not leave a legacy of peace to your people? Welcome back, great king. Your deeds are famous. Your valor is an inspiration to us all, my king.
There's no time to rest though, because Beowulf's old friend Brecca has somehow gathered an army and is attacking Notenthorpe, so Beowulf and Wiglaf have to set out once again. Brecca's army isn't just bandits though, as he also has 4 more and trolls backing him up for some reason. Anyway, most of the first objectives have you hunting down and killing 4 more leaders, but those are nothing compared to the final objective of this level. You have to protect a holy relic and a village while enemies attack from the beach, and let me just tell you about this mission. So there's around 3 waves of enemies. The first one is just bandits and 4 more. The bandits will go for the relic, but they prefer fighting your thanes or you. 4 more, on the other hand, will beeline straight to the relic and start destroying it, so you have to catch them quick before they can. Wave 2 is just trolls, however you can't finish them in time. Wave 3 will start early, which consists of more bandits and 4 more. So why is this so hard? Well, first of all, your thanes are basically useless. They'll constantly be wrapped up fighting bandits, leaving you to protect the relic all by yourself. Furthermore, both 4 more and trolls love to pin down your thanes and kill them if you don't intervene. However, you can't intervene because if you leave even that relic for a second, it's getting destroyed. When the trolls arrive, if you plan on fighting them, basically the only way is to face them down on the beach because you really can't allow them to get close to the relic. So that means that when you kill the trolls, you're now far away from the relic and need to dash back, with the much faster 4 more outpacing you. Now, Carnal Fury is great at dealing with hordes of enemies like 4 more, but remember that it enables friendly fire, which includes the relic. Now, you're not completely alone out here because enemies can only come from 3 directions, one of which can be blocked off by your thanes. You also get 2 boulders that you can knock free, which will roll down the hill and kill every enemy in its path. Now, this objective is very achievable if you dial in, on the normal difficulty. I really think there's only one way to beat this on the harder one, though. That is to first block off that 3rd path, defend against the first wave normally, use the boulders to kill the trolls, and then defend the 3rd wave. The amount of precision it takes with the boulders, though, is crazy. You have to use a Thane song to make sure they drop at just the right times to get both trolls. It's hard to express in words how hard this objective is, but if you ever play Beowulf, you'll understand. Anyway, for saving the cross, a different old lady gives Beowulf a cross of his own, which allows us to get past holy stones.
Relic of the Christ God. Let's see. Who would I rather have at my side in a knife fight? Odin or that carpenter? No god can help you better than you will help yourself, hero.
It's now time to fight Brecca, so after another ship section, Beowulf and his thanes arrive at an island where Brecca makes his stand. I think I've said enough about that boss fight, but after killing his former friend, Beowulf, for some reason, decides to sail into Hell, the underworld, to kill Hela. There's really no explanation for why he does this, but the first part of Hell has Beowulf parkouring to destroy these crystals before his ship wrecks into them. After that is another section with Grendel's mom, and then Hela, both of which I've already discussed. If you're a hero at this point, you return to Herod to find it bustling and decorated. Wiglaf is proud of you and Weathelo finally loves you, and they even named Christmas Eve as Beowulf Day.
May his kingdom flourish, and Herod be a beacon to the civilized world. I declare this day Beowulf's Day.
Hail to the hero king!
My great beautiful king, Beowulf, you have come so far. If only we could begin anew.
Today we celebrate the liberation of the Danish people from fear and barbary.
Soon our righteous king will set aside his golden crown for a crown of thorns if this continues.
In the Carno version of events, guess who's back to suck you off some more?
I declare this day Beowulf's Day.
All hail the warrior king, boldest of bloodshedders. May his legend live on forever.
Hail, King Beowulf, the monster slayer!
Today is yours, my husband, but tomorrow belongs to the White Christ. Perhaps it is just as well, and we can have some peace at last.
You are not the man I had hoped you'd become, my kinsman. But then, you are the monster slayer.
Herod is sad and desolate, but they at least still name the day after you. Anyway, we finally caught up with the movie timeline, although the game is different again. Beowulf is an old man now and he finds the golden dragon horn has been returned to him, which means that he and Grendel's mom's deal is up. Beowulf's son with her is now a giant golden dragon who attacks Herod. In the carnal ending, Beowulf basically has no regrets and is happy to go off and face the dragon.
And so, it comes back to you after all these years. Why don't you just hole up with one of those nice young girls of yours and let some young hero save us?
What? And miss out on all the fun? I must be the one to finish her.
Ah, was she so beautiful, Beowulf? A beauty so costly.
And much more willing to.
So be it, monster lover. So be it.
True to your reputation right to the end, monster slayer. What less than a dragon to finish your bloody tale?
Sins of the fathers! What happened to your damned agreement?
Come, mighty monster slayer. We are weary, but we follow our king to the end.
The time of monster slayers is not dead, Hrothgar. The demons flee in terror before my might. Can I not do as I please? Am I not a god among men?
Wiglaf is the ghost, so he still goes with you, but when Beowulf reaches the mom's cave, he basically says, fuck you and your dragon.
I am mighty Beowulf, and the horn is mine, and to hell with you!
So the mom appears, kills all of his thanes, making even more shadow thanes, and the carnal dragon fight ensues, which we've already talked about. In the heroic version of events, Beowulf goes to face the dragon, but still he's a little more noble about it.
Why don't you just hole up with one of those nice young girls of yours and let some young hero save us?
I visited this horror upon my kingdom. I must be the one to finish her.
Was she so beautiful, Beowulf? A beauty so costly.
I am sorry. So sorry. Keep a memory of me, not as a king and hero, but as a man, fallible and flawed.
God keep you, my love.
Foreigner, ordain my lord Beowulf. This is your home now. You are our true king, and no Dane shall ever forget it.
Sins of the fathers! No one can save us or you now, mighty Beowulf!
Come, my lord and lifelong friend. We are weary, but we are with you to the end.
Beowulf tries to fess up to Wiglaf about what he did, but the man doesn't want to hear it and tarnish his friend's legacy.
There is something you must know.
Nay, there is nothing I must know. You are Beowulf. Beowulf the mighty, the hero, the slayer and destroyer of demons. Now let's kill this flying devil where it sleeps and get on with our bloody lives. So, do you want me to go further, my king?
No, Wiglaf.
I'll stay here.
When he reaches the cave, he tries to give the horn back, but the dragon, his son, isn't having it.
I am Beowulf, king of the Danes, and you can keep your damned horn.
Hail to the king!
Righteous king! Nothing can make up for what you've done to me.
Dragging Beowulf off for the 20-minute boss fight, but leaving his thanes be. To kill the dragon, Beowulf has to saw his own arm off, but ends up ripping out the dragon's heart in the process. Wiglaf finds Beowulf bleeding out on a beach. In the movie, we learn that Beowulf also had no heirs due to his relations with Grendel's mom, and he named Wiglaf the next king. The dialogue is slightly different for each ending, but the heroic one matches up best with the movie.
I'm done. Do you hear her?
I hear nothing.
The sun. It's Grendel's mother. My son's mother,
No, Lord. Don't say such things. You killed Grendel's mother when we were young. It's in the saga.
It's too late for lies. Wiglaf. Too late.
The mother. What are you talking about, Beowulf? You slayed her ages ago when we were young.
She said I'd live forever. Treacherous tempt.
Neither is entirely canon because in the movie, Beowulf's wife hates him, which lines up with the carnal ending, where Wiglaf and his people love him, which lines up with the heroic one. Anyway, they give Beowulf a proper funeral and we'll never know what happened to Grendel's mom, although in the movie it seems like she's about to seduce Wiglaf next. So that was Beowulf, a game I played for the first time when I was like 10 years old, and for some reason it stuck with me throughout all these years. Now that I've played it as an adult, is Beowulf actually good? Not really. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 reviews.